One battle after another, the most divisive movie of 2025. Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film, One Battle After Another, has been hailed by many as a cinematic triumph. Hailed as the movie of the year on social media. But it's also stirring up significant debate, especially among conservative critics. What makes this nearly 3-hour adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's Vineland, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, so controversial? Let's dive in. The film follows a weary revolutionary, played by DiCaprio, who fights to protect his daughter, Chase Infinity, from a white nationalist military officer, Sean Penn. It opens with an audacious raid on an ICE detention center, liberating the detainees, and depicts government agents brutally killing unarmed individuals, while orchestrating violent provocations against peaceful protesters to justify harsher crackdowns. What's surprising is that, despite its intense political tone, One Battle After Another has not generated as much uproar among conservative audiences as one might expect. Instead, it's found critical acclaim, strong audience approval, and box office success, crossing $100 million globally, marking the biggest opening of Anderson's career. But here's where it gets controversial. Some conservatives argue this isn't just a film. It's a dangerous political statement made at the wrong moment. Ben Shapiro, a well-known conservative commentator, didn't hesitate to label the movie 2025's Most Irresponsible. He argues that it acts as a defense of radical left-wing violence, lacking subtlety, and painting America as a nation entirely controlled by white supremacist Christian nationalists. In his view, the film suggests that only left-wing radicals and characters like DiCaprio's can challenge and dismantle this system. According to Shapiro, the film glorifies chaos and destruction over productivity and decency, implying it's better to waste one's life in violent rebellion than to be a contributing citizen. David Marcus from Fox News echoed similar concerns, calling the movie an ill-timed apologia for left-wing violence. He believes it dangerously portrays the United States as a fascist state, a narrative he warns is not just erroneous, but threatens real-world safety. Marcus points out that this movie came out just as the Trump administration intensifies efforts against groups like Antifa, labeling them very real domestic terrorists, and cynically speculates these individuals might ironically enjoy watching the film from behind bars. The National Review also criticized the film for romanticizing political assassination, referencing the recent violent attack on conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. They claim Anderson seems to glorify the radical excesses of past and present liberal activism, feeding a culture obsessed with political unrest. Calling it the year's most irresponsible movie, the review highlights the danger of presenting such volatile content without nuance. Meanwhile, The Blaze took a stark stance on Hollywood's bias, asserting One Battle After Another isn't just another film with anti-conservative undertones. It crosses the line by celebrating violent rebellion. When DiCaprio's character shouts "Viva la Revolucion" while detonating bombs, the film expects applause from its audience, and those who don't cheer are arguably the targets. The commentary suggests Hollywood is increasingly framing half of the American population not as fellow citizens, but as enemies deserving punishment, questioning whether owning guns, supporting secure borders, or voting conservatively are now considered moral transgressions. In a twist, the progressive magazine The New Republic offered a different critique. David Clion wrote that the film portrays a fantasy version of the left, an armed revolutionary force that realistically doesn't exist. The rebels in the movie, he says, resemble the vague, exaggerated fear of Antifa super soldiers more than any actual group. Interestingly, he observed that audiences were cheering and laughing during screenings, even during scenes depicting the harsh realities faced by immigrant families torn apart by armed federal agents, a reaction he describes as somewhat discordant, given the seriousness of these issues. Finally, The Hollywood Reporter presented a more balanced take. Richard Newby argued the film does not glamorize political violence, but instead shows it as a fleeting, tragic response that often leads to harm on all sides. The film, he suggests, portrays violence not as a solution, but as an unfortunate outcome in a deeply divided America. So, is One Battle After Another a bold and necessary political drama, or a reckless celebration of violence and extremism? Does it reveal uncomfortable truths about America's fractures, or does it dangerously exaggerate them? And why is a 3-hour indie drama about radical left-wing rebels causing such a firestorm compared to more conventional Hollywood fare? What do you think? Is this truly a responsible portrayal of political struggle? Or is it irresponsibly stoking division? Share your thoughts below and join the conversation. Because when art and politics collide this fiercely, the debate is far from over.